Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Rites of Passage for 1984 Hall of Fame. Here with me, we have the final four of the season. We have Tyler, Caleb, Sam, and Jabbar. The four of them will be going back through each of the fallen house guests in the order that they were evicted. They will be giving their thoughts on the players, give a little tribute if you want to, maybe if you want to read somebody. I don't know what you guys are going to say, but that's what we're here to do. So, first up tonight, we have Kevin. Whoever would like to start may begin.
Who?
I love Kevin on a personal level. On a game level, I don't think we were ever gonna work together because it was apparent that me and Rizzo were pretty good. So maybe, possibly, don't know. But sadly it didn't work out on a game level, but on a personal level, I really do love Kevin.
Sorry, you can go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I like Kevin. I was like, he's like one of the only people that's like positively posting stuff about me on Facebook. Everyone else is like mean. But we didn't talk too much, but we had like some good personal conversations, and I would talk to him again.
My experience with Kevin is I didn't know him before this game, and he never added me on Skype this game. So that's my opinion on Kevin. I'm sorry you got first boot though. It is kind of a shame that you quit, kind of. I do think the rumors that were being spread, I think they were kind of blown out of proportion, and I don't think you should have took them as personally as you did, because from my end anyway, I don't know about you guys, but like on my end, it wasn't that deep. I feel like everyone was kind of spreading them, but I don't think anyone genuinely was like, Kevin's a bad person or anything. It was, I don't know. That's how I viewed it, but.
No, I wasn't, for me, it wasn't like, and I feel like everyone was like guilty of pre-gaming, so like I don't know why Kevin got the backlash. Well, the tea is that me, Rizzo, and Nick technically pre-gamed because me and Nick were in Rizzo's prod chat for season 5, and we always used to joke how we'd be in Alliance for All Stars. So we kind of pre-gamed without pre-gaming, if that makes sense. But I don't know why Kevin got the backlash for it the most.
I definitely think that Kevin was scapegoated. With that being said, I was in a VO during season 5, and honestly, Kevin, just like hearing about how you talked about like the other players and stuff, I knew I did not necessarily want to work with you, but like after talking to you, I really enjoyed you as a person and things of that nature. You kind of like basically told everybody to vote you out. And to be honest, I don't know if you left because of that or if you would have left regardless and people were going to vote you out. I guess we'll never know. It definitely does suck that you had to be the first casualty. And I really hope that like, if you continue to play orgs, that you don't take things like those rumors and things of that nature as personal. Just always consider the source of where these things are coming from.
I agree with all of that.
Snaps. We're not doing that.
Next up, we have Billy.
Are we gonna go in our same like little order, or like?
What was the order?
We went Caleb, Sam.
Okay.
Oh, I can start again. Yeah. Billy knows I adore him. Absolutely love him. We met on Surviving. Neither of us lasted long, so I was really excited to play this game with him again. I was really hoping we would last longer. Didn't work out. I did save you in the vote, and I didn't like campaign very hard to keep you, but I really did think you had the votes to stay, and I was shocked to see you leave this early. I think you could have done great things if you did stay. So it's sad that we didn't get to see them, but I know you're a good player, and you did well for the hand that was given to you, because I feel like you were kind of grouped in with Kevin and nobody really gave you too much of a shot, but you definitely fought your hardest.
Yeah, I feel like Billy was like one of the only like first couple of boots who actually like tried to stay. I feel like everyone else kind of just. I think we played like a 10 gauge group game together. We like never worked together. I think he tried to idle me out, but I also had an idol. But
That was in my game.
that wasn't your game you hosted. But I think Billy. I have nothing bad to say about Billy.
I do like Billy. Billy. So on a personal level, I love Billy. I feel like when I play games with Billy, it's very hard to see eye to eye because I think Billy has great thoughts on a strategic level. It's just like I'm more of a social player in that aspect, and I like to talk to people, and I don't strictly like to just talk about game. And like when people just talk to me about game, it kind of feels like you don't want to work with me. Um, and so that's kind of where me and Billy don't see eye to eye. But I do like him as a person overall, and I do think he kind of got screwed by the rumors. And trust me, if we could go back in time, I'd be saving you in that vote, sweetie.
I completely agree with Tyler. Like, you know, obviously retrospect is a bitch, but if I could go back.
Jabari, you're cutting out.
Oh, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If I could go back in time, I definitely would go back and save you. However, you know, I can't really call it like a true mistake because I still made it to the final four. So I would definitely save you. What the things have started, and I really hope that in a positive way. You're such a sweetheart. I absolutely adored you. It was just the nature of the beast.
Okay. Next up, we have Drew.
Am I going first again?
We can just keep going in the same order. Or
Okay. Drew, I honestly don't know where we stand right now. I kind of really did you wrong in this game. We we didn't even have an alliance until you were up on the block. It was literally made like right before the POV competition that Luke won. So it was made like a day before you were gone. Um, I guess that meant I don't know. I guess that means I was unloyal, but I know I did you pretty wrong in this game, even just on a personal friendship level. I can't really say that I regret it, considering that I am here in the final four. I do think it was the best move for my game. Still, I know you're pretty upset with me. I definitely like to talk after the game. Um, see where we're at because I feel like things are kind of getting personal now, and I just don't know where we're going from here. But hopefully, we can talk some things out.
I like Drew personally, but I did kind of campaign for you to go because you were against Burks and I was close with Burks. That is who he was against. Yeah, okay. But I have nothing bad to say against Drew. We just like we'd like miss each other like once a day. So like it wasn't like we were like insanely close, but you seem very nice and cool, and I would be open to talking to you after the season.
Okay, so I love Drew. Me and Drew have we've never like truly worked together in a game, but we're always so friendly in games, and we're friendly in chats when we see each other or whatever. And when honestly, the first person I messaged in this game was Drew because I genuinely wanted to work with him the most out of anyone. No tea, no shade, but I was like, I don't know. It's just like when you see that one person that you're like, oh, I always wanted to work with them. That was Drew for me. However, when the game actually started, we never really talked a whole lot. And then, honestly, Drew was probably above a lot of people at that point. But when he was nommed against Burks, obviously, I could not save him. I was ready to let Burks go at the beginning of that round, to be honest. Like, I wasn't going to campaign for Drew to go. But when Burks had the numbers to stay, I was like, okay, I need to jump on this bandwagon because obviously I was closer to Burks. But we should all take this as a no, and this is why you don't nom an ally as a renom to try to get someone out, because then it goes poorly, and you were kind of pushed.
Yeah, I agree with Tyler. I was so sad to vote you out, but at that point when you were nommed against Burks, I knew that I had to fucking save Burks because he was one of the closest people to me in the game. Even though I absolutely love and adore you, and coming into this game, you were definitely somebody who I wanted to work with, like a fellow Rob third placer. I absolutely love and adore you. We've made it to final 2 in a game before, Drew, so you know I fucking love you. It just wasn't in the cards for you. I'm so sorry that I had to evict you. I truly am.
Next up, we have Hot Girl Chris.
Oof.
Yes, hot girl Chris. I'll let Sam get into that. You are one of my best friends outside of this game. You have been for a while now, and I feel like you will be for a long time. You know I love and adore you so much. But when it came to this game, you weren't too active. You didn't really talk too much. You weren't very present, at least to me. I don't know if you talked to other people. So when you were up against X, who like is also a friend but talked to me more, it it made it so that I had to vote you out. I think the votes were there anyways without mine. I can't remember what the vote count was. But it was still so sad to see you go. I know even though you didn't get to play to your full potential, I do know what you are capable of and I do know what you can do. So I am kind of sad that we didn't get to see that, but you know I love you forever.
Obviously, I was the HOH that got you out. I honestly do like you as a person, but like your attitude on the Facebook towards me has honestly been like despicable, and it's just like irritating and annoying to constantly see negative comments about me when we're all just playing a game, because I said like nothing personal about you, and I've heard from like other people that in group chats you're like talking about me, and it's like, I don't know, it's just like weird to me because I genuinely haven't thought about you since you left. But I mean, it is what it is. Jealousy is a disease, and I do hope you recover soon. But yeah, I guess you shouldn't have screwed me over in that Roblox game we played, honestly. That's it.
Okay, Chris, I genuinely believe that week that you could have stayed, and I kept telling you this over and over and over, and you were like, I'm not talking to people, I don't want to talk to people. And I was like, okay, like, sure, if you want to go, then you can go. But genuinely, so many people wanted to save you that week, but you just weren't doing anything, and you weren't messaging anyone, and you just kind of like let yourself go. And it was kind of like, I don't know. I really wish you stayed, because then we wouldn't have had to deal with X this game. But yeah, I'm sorry it happened to you. But yeah, I think when you went up, you were kind of defeated, even though I do think that you could have stayed.
Honestly, Chris, I was really excited to see you in the game. The only problem was like we besides the one sentence to each other like every 2 rounds, we really didn't even talk. So that was definitely shocking to me. Obviously, I want to assume that like things in your personal life were like not even personal, but like you had things going on in your real life that probably affected your performance in the game. Or maybe you were just blindsided with being nominated, or whatever the case may be. Like, I was very shocked that you just didn't seem like you were as invested in the game as I thought that you probably would be, which is one of the main reasons why I felt like I had to evict you in this particular situation. I absolutely adore you, though. Love you, adore you. It just wasn't in the cards, unfortunately.
I also have something to point out that on your round that you got evicted, I know that when you got nommed, you were kind of like annoyed with me for some reason because I guess me, you, Lee, and Sam had spoken about a Final Four kind of thing, but we never made it or anything, and it wasn't like official. And yeah, so I just want to say that I had no part in you going up, and I did want you to stay, but yeah.
I had no interest working with that group per my nomination, so.
Okay, next up is the first winner that left the game, Miss Bria.
Bria, I am so sorry. You really coming into this game, you were one of the people that I wanted to work with the most, but that I was also the most terrified of. And maybe that's why I wanted to work with you because I thought it'd be better to be on your side than against you. You are and will be one of the best players to ever play this game. You not only that, but you are one of the greatest characters. You're such an icon. I loved getting to know you and talking to you because you were one of the few people who I had never played an org with before. Um, and so it was just super nice getting to talk to you on a personal level and like talk strategy. And I it really did suck having to nominate you because I obviously didn't want you to go. But uh, you know the circumstance around that HOH, and I wanted Jack out and you were just kind of a casualty of that. It really does suck that it had to go down that way, especially because you were the only one who really suffered from that HOH, seeing as Jack came back. Um, so I kind of feel like I wasted an HOH on getting you out when I really didn't need to. But I hope we can talk after this and get to know each other more because I really do love you so much.
Bria, I think you were like the one person that like pre-game to me because you told me that like the group of like Kevin, Billy, and them were after me and you, and so I immediately was like, I have to work with Bria. I like felt I did have a chat with you and Bergs, but that kind of died after week 1. But I love you so much. You messaged me and you're like, go do this thing, Nicole Franzel, like right when you left. And so, Bria, you have a special place in my heart. And you know that. I've known Bria for like 2 years and I love her to death.
I do like Bria a lot. Games, I'm a little nervous about working with Bria because I've seen Bria's performance in a couple of games and like she usually slays. However, Bria, I love you to death, but I do know that you like to start a lot of lies in games, and you're really good at talking yourself out of things. Like, truthfully, when you start a lie, you have your story straight from the get-go. When there's house meetings, you know what's going on. You know how to play it around. And yeah, like, I don't know, as a person, I love you to death, and like, I did want to work with you. Like, I didn't want you to go then, but it's kind of, I forget who you're nommed against. Was it Yoshi and Bryce? Yeah, it was Yoshi and Bryce. And I could not let Bryce go at that time because I thought Bryce was one of my top allies at that time. And we'll get into that later. But yeah, I know you kind of gave up toward the end and you kind of got screwed because of your partner. So overall, you just kind of got like screwed. So yeah, but you're a phenomenal player.
I'm so sad you got taken down by that horrible Caleb and that nasty Luke. They fucking dismantled you, and I'm so sad. No, on a serious note, I cannot say enough positive things about you. I absolutely love and adore you. You're one of my best friends. I was so sad to see you go, especially because like you knew that you were getting backdoored and you still wanted me and Tyler to win the veto so that I could take Yoshi off, despite knowing that you will probably be the renom. And I definitely appreciate that selflessness from you. It's such a shame that like the person who caused all the drama that round ended up coming back in the game and you had to basically stay out of the game. So Yeah, you got royally fucked, but I absolutely love and adore you. I can't even say enough positive things about you, so I'm just gonna stop talking.
Oh, also, I just want to say that you would not be going home if me and Jabbar were 1 second quicker at dropping those damn circles.
Tyler should have just listened to me and stopped questioning me, and you
I
would still be
should've.
here. You would
That's
still been in the game.
Honestly, it's
maybe-
Tyler's fault you're gone.
Actually,
Confirmed.
It's let's blame Tyler.
Hold on. Jabbar told me to drop at a time where I was not even over the pole, and that would have been 1 second.
None of
if I
that would have
was-
mattered if Tyler didn't question me the 5 times he did, each taking 3 seconds to ask
Well,
me if I was sure.
moral of the story, if Jabbar didn't suck, you would still be here.
And if Tyler was a good listener, you would definitely still be here.
Okay, next up we have Luke, one of the only season 2 players that did not make it to the jury phase.
Okay, so coming into this game, I was very apprehensive of Luke. Obviously, we did not get together in season 2. He was the reason, he was HOH that I went home. He broke the tie, not in my favor. We both came back for the mini, where we got into a screaming match, a drunken screaming match. Super fun. We talked a little bit after that, and it was pretty chill. Like, once we were both out of the game, because I think we both ended up in jury, we like talked and we were fine. But coming into this game, I was still a bit apprehensive about talking to you and working with you. And then when you won week 2 HOH, oh, my life flashed before my eyes. I thought I was getting backdoored all over again. It was going to be a whole season 2 scenario. And apparently, from what I've heard, it might have been true. But luckily, you didn't do that. You reached out to me. We talked. And I think it went really, really well. And then we were partners in HOH in that one round. And I think that's when our games like really started to connect. Like being forced to work together really helped us bond and like show that we had something in common, that we could go far together. I felt really, really bad that Nick put you up the next week because I felt like Nick twisted my words in order to target you. For one, I don't know why they targeted you, because like you weren't coming after them, and it just wasn't a smart move on their part, in my opinion. And like 2, I don't know why they try to blame me for it. But I really did not want you up that round, and I did try to save you. Obviously it didn't work. I think we ended up being like 1 vote short, maybe 2 vote. I don't know. It wasn't like, it was very last minute. I was just going around talking to people being like, do you want to save Luke? And people were probably lying to me, because I found out a lot of people were lying to me that round. But I do appreciate us working together. I said we needed to win that HOH when you wanted to throw, and you did. And I am grateful for that. But I feel like it screwed you over in the end. So I am very, very, very sorry. But I hope we get to work together in the future, because I do think we started something that we necessarily didn't get to finish.
We didn't really talk too much, but like stream reality room for clear skin. But we had like good conversations about like school. Like we're both in like similar places in our lives. We're both like in college and trying to figure out what we want to do with our lives. So we had some good conversations about that. But I don't think I messaged you before you won HOH, so I also was quite nervous when you won. But yeah, nothing bad to say about Mr. Luke.
Believe it or not, coming to this game, you were someone that I really wanted to work with. Because you did target me in season 2, but like since then we had a good talk like right after the season or whatever, and like we know that there was no bad blood. It was just game. And when I saw you again, obviously I didn't want to be against you. Again, I think season 2 is the only logical season that realized that like working with your season actually was more beneficial, or like at least keeping them safe, not working with them, but at least keeping them safe. And yeah, last minute, I can't lie, me and Caleb did try kind of hard to save you, mostly Caleb actually, and I can vouch for that. And honestly, me and Caleb almost got taken out because of it. We're lucky those next few HOHs were really good, because otherwise me and Caleb probably would have been joining you in the pre-jury house. But yeah, more of the story, Megan was a rat that round and said that she wanted you to stay, and then kind of spread the season 2 rumors to try to get you evicted. But yeah, I did want you to stay. I did want to work with you. I do love talking to you. I have been watching Reality Room. And yeah, I hope you're doing well.
Luke, I'm so sad that out of everybody from season 2, you're the only one not to make it to the jury because you're the only one that I fucking could actually tolerate coming into this game. I loved you. I still do adore you. Our alliance, the Blondes, we dominated season 2, and I was really hoping that we can come back and dominate this season. With that being said, I really did not want you to stay. And the reason why I did not want you to stay was because I knew that had you stayed, it would have put a target on the entire season 2's back. And quite frankly, at this point, it really wasn't anything that you had done. If anybody from season 2 would have been on a block, I probably would not have wanted them to stay because of that. Personally, I would have loved for you to stay. Strategically speaking, all 5 of us could not that round. It just sucks that it had to be you to be the person who became the martyr for the rest of season 2 to make it as far as we did.
But
absolutely adore you though.
If we knew what was going to happen and we knew that season 2 was good.
And if we knew that season 2 was going to win like fucking 11 or 12 situations after that, then absolutely, Luke, you can stay, child. You can stay. But not being able to predict the future, I just had to make the decision that would benefit the rest of us the best.
Also, shout out to his 4 comp wins and the time that he was here.
He snapped.
He did.
Snapped.
He was here for a short time, but impactful.
And that's another thing. Fuck you, Luke, because I thought I was good at comps, but like you literally would beat me by the smallest margin in like 2 of your comp wins. And I was like, this is not gonna be a season 2 repeat. Like Luke has to get the fuck out of here if I'm gonna win some comps.
And Luke is like truly a beast. Like it's really like mind blowing that like Luke is so good at these challenges because like you won't see Luke for like 2-3 days sometimes, and then he'll come back and just win that HOH because apparently he knows the whole history of 1984 or something. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, how the fuck? I haven't been following the series. I don't know the first thing. Me and Luke in the tiebreaker, and he get the answer right perfectly. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So yeah, Luke is he's too good. He is just too good at these colors.
Okay. Next up, we have Nick W.
Oh, my heart. Obviously, coming into this game, you were probably the person I was closest to. I was planning on going to the end with you. I wanted to go far, whether people knew we were working together or not. I just wanted to play with you. That being said, we didn't always see eye to eye on the game. Like, obviously, I know you didn't want Drew gone. I kind of did. And then you wanted Luke gone. I kind of didn't. And again, you used my words against me to put Luke up after I specifically told you not to say that because, like, you had already gone around telling people that. And then when I tried to save Luke, you were one of the main people spreading the season 2 rumor. And at that point, I kind of just felt betrayed because, like, I understand that we weren't seeing eye to eye on the game level where, like, you wanted certain people out and I necessarily didn't. But to go around and spread rumors that I'm in some big alliance. Wait, is my internet good?
Yeah.
Okay, it said it was unstable, so I wasn't sure. But for you to go around and, like, spread rumors that I'm in some alliance and basically kind of try to tank my game, whether that was your intention or not, it was kind of hurtful. And so when you were nominated the next week, I didn't really feel any obligation to keep you. I think keeping you around would have hurt my game more than it would have helped it. And it sucked that it had to be that way because I do really love you as a person. You are, again, one of my best friends outside of this game, and I did want to go to the end with you. It just didn't end up working out that way. But I'll always love you, and you are probably one of the only people that, like, isn't being bitter towards me right now, like, because I evicted you. So I think we understood what went down, and we're both mature enough to, like, handle it. And I do thank you for that, but I will always love you.
Nick, I love you so much. I think we got really close like week 2 or 3, like right before you had won the endurance HOH that I got second in. But we worked pretty closely this game. Honestly, I think if the votes were there, I honestly would have considered keeping you, but I think it was just like so far down the drain that there was like no chance. But yeah, we've talked in like some group chats, and I agree with Caleb. You're like one of the few people that's not like bitter about the game, which we all really appreciate. I hope, if I can speak for everyone, because it is exhausting seeing so much negative stuff all the time when it's just a game. But I know we'll talk after. Yeah, nothing bad to say about Nick.
Honestly, Nick, you probably were someone that I talked to the most in this game. We had like 3, 4, 5 a.m. calls like every single night. We got really close. Honestly, we've never played a game together before this, and I love getting to know you as a person. We didn't talk much game at all, to be honest. I did think that we were going to be good until at least like the jury phase of the game. However, when the round prior to this, the one that Megan tried sailing me and Caleb down the drain, it seemed like you kind of sided with Megan over us and like kind of just believed everything that she said, which I think like truly was your downfall, because I think that me and Caleb both had your back, and it kind of was like really confusing to me as to why you were just all of a sudden like fuck Tyler, fuck Caleb, stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I do think you're a good player, but you need like and don't take this the wrong way. Like it's just constructive criticism, but like every HOH you have, it doesn't need to be a big move. I do think that was your downfall, is you won 3 HOHs, and every single time you wanted to take out a big player, regardless if it was your best move or not. But hopefully after this game, we can talk and reconnect, because I did love talking to you. So yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm here. Hi. So child Nick W, honey. You were cutthroat, you were vicious, you dominated. Like even the round you were evicted, you dominated like the first 7 rounds of the game. It was all about Nick, honey. What the hell? What rabbit was Nick gonna pull out of their hat today? With that being said, I think that you scared a lot of people for several reasons. One, we all, well, I'm pretty sure all of us here kind of felt like you wanted to make big moves. And we all feel like we're kind of like some of the biggest moves that could have been made in the game. So had you stayed in the game and you continue to pave your, any one of us would be here. Not to mention, child, you were willing to turn on anybody, honey. And it was great entertainment, but I think it scared people long term. Like the fact that like you were willing to just say, fuck it, I'm gonna put up somebody who completely trusts me. It made those of us who did not have that tight of a bond with you feel like, hey, if you can do it to that person, maybe you could do it to me too. So I think that those 2 factors kind of play into your downfall. And everybody else kind of jumped on that bandwagon to take you down when the opportunity was presented to us to do so. With that being said, I think that you were a badass, you were a star, and you made the first third of this game very entertaining.
I also do want to thank Nick for grabbing me by my hair and dragging me through most of pre-jury with their HOH wins. I do appreciate that.
Okay, next up we have Megan.
Um. Oh, Oh, not the photo montage.
Oh, oops. Sorry.
um, I don't even know where. Get it together, sweetie.
I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I was taking them out of my
Um,
thing and I didn't realize I was going to do that. Sorry.
I really don't know where we stand. I get that I voted you out, but you really did screw me over first. You went around trying to spread a rumor about me that was not true. And, well, not yet, anyways. You basically made this happen. You're the reason I'm here, basically. So I guess thank you. Um, but I thought we ended on a decent note. I get you were mad that I voted you out. You said you wanted to have a talk afterwards. You think you know what went wrong. And like I thought we were good on a personal level and it was like strictly game related. Obviously, some stuff has happened since then, and I don't know if that's necessarily true. I just don't know where we go from here. I don't know if you want to be friends. I don't know if you want to talk after this. I'm gonna leave it up to you. I've kind of said what I need to say. Um, and I'll just leave it at that. If you want to talk afterwards, hit me up. If not, cool.
Oh, Megan, I think I'm the last one here that you're rooting for, so I really appreciate that. Um, I seriously, Megan, I love you so, so much. You were probably like one of the people pre-juror I was like closest to. Like, I went on so many calls with you, and I had so much fun like getting to know you. We did have a final four with Bryce and Cindy and myself, so that was fun. I didn't really see it going anywhere because there was like a lot of like intertwining, like talking about each other. But it was fun while it lasted. It was made on my HOH, I think by you actually. But yeah, and then you came back in the comeback and you said that you hoped I could win and take it home. Um, but yeah, I love you to death, and you are just an amazing person, and I love you. Okay, I'm done. I can keep going.
It's so funny that you mention a Final Four with those people because actually, this is like relevant to the next person, but me and Jabbar also had a Final Four with Bryce and Cindy. But Megan, early on, like honestly, I thought we were gonna be like long-term allies. Like I literally, us campaigning to save Cindy really brought us closer together, and we talked a lot. Like I don't know what happened, and like even Caleb can vouch for this. Literally, the second this game started, I said, I want to be Megan's friend. I was like, I love her. I want to be Megan's friend. Um, I keep mentioning Caleb a lot in my speeches, but that's okay. But yeah, Megan, you honestly are like such a queen. And like, honestly, talking to you was so fun. And like, the second you left, the house calls kind of like died. So like, you were kind of the life of the party. And I did miss that because it was like, I think everyone's kind of scared to be like anyone want to call in the house chat call, but like I think everyone kind of wants to, and you weren't scared to like break the ice there and say that. Um, but at this point in the game, I do think you leaving was best for my game because although we were close in the early stages, it just seemed like at that point in the game you weren't with me, and I would love to talk after and like realize where everything went wrong because I think we're both confused where everything went wrong and like we went from being super close and to all of a sudden like wanting each other out and I don't really know what happened, but yeah.
Oh, hey. Okay, so hey, hey, Megan. Despite contrary belief, I absolutely don't hate you or anything of that nature. I really wanted to work with you coming into this game, but like when 5 or 6 people are telling me that like you're the ringleader of these season 2 rumors, it kind of forces my back to be pushed into a wall. Like honestly, I really had no plans of winning a fucking HOH that early in the game, personally. But when I'm hearing that season 2 was on the chopping block and that you're the one spreading it, I really hope you understand that I didn't target you for personal reasons. I targeted you because I needed to nip that in the bud. But of course, little did I know it would have never gotten nipped in the bud. But that was my whole plan for targeting you the week that I did. It definitely was not personal. I absolutely love and adore you. I'm so sorry that I've sent you home in 3 games, back to back to back. But the next time we play, I promise I'm gonna let you send me home. It's not that big of a deal. And after that, maybe we can wipe our hands clean and start anew. But I do adore you. No hard feelings, and I really hope that you don't nasty feelings towards you. I really adore you as a person.
Also, I'm so sorry because I most definitely threw that competition to Jabbar, like very obviously. So I feel kind of bad. But it was a pretty funny HOH comp.
Okay. Next up is the second winner that left the game, Cindy.
No, I'm good.
Are you really not gonna say anything?
I'm okay.
Well. How? Okay.
Okay, I think I might be the only one here, but I actually really like Cindy. We got really close when I won HOH. And then again when you won HOH and we like solidified some things. Yeah, I got to know you on like a deeper level. What is someone typing? Oh my gosh, Tyler. Okay. I honestly, Cindy, I loved you, and I know everyone else is probably gonna like drag you through the mud, so I do apologize and like pray for you in advance. But I really do want to be your friend after. Everything I did say to you was like genuine. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say, but
Okay, so truly, I don't know what the fuck your problem is with me, because early on, week 2, I was the main reason you wanted to stay, or you wanted to stay. I was the main reason you did stay. No tea, no shade. Sam was evicting you until I spent hours upon hours convincing him to save you, along with other people. And this entire, like, I really don't know what the fuck your problem is with me, because the week 2, I campaigned for you to stay. Then I thought we were in a final 4 with Jabbar, and then had a final 3 with Bryce. And then Bryce comes to me saying that you want to backdoor me the week that you backdoor Nick. And I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? And then the week you were on with Bryce and Keaton, I still was evicting Keaton. And then you get evicted and still say, fuck Tyler, you're the reason I'm out. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You're the reason you're out. I'm sorry you're a terrible player, and I'm sorry that you're so bitter on the Facebook page. Like, truly, you're so, like, it's frustrating that I wanted to be your friend. I talked to you all the time. I had trust in you. I was so loyal to you. And then because you're all caught up in your head. I don't know if you're jealous that me and Bryce are friends or what, but it kind of seemed that way, because the second Bryce told you that me and him should have helped you in a 22-person cast, your number one ally being friends with someone should help you, which it did, because like even after you wanted to backdoor me, I still wasn't putting you up. I wasn't evicting you, whatever. Then you get evicted. And I'm like, okay, well, thank God she's gone because she wanted me out. Then you come back like a fucking crazy person and enter the Zoom and say, Tyler, this is very bad for you. And I'm like, girl, I don't know what the fuck I did to you, truly. And then on your way out, you continue to talk about me. You continue to like every post on Facebook that I'm nominated on the one time. But every comment I make, you like thumbs down it, or like you don't heart it, whatever, or any my friend commented a post saying, give us Tyler as a joke, and you hearted it. I just truly don't know what your problem is with me. And if you want to talk after the game, that's truly fine. And I'm fine making up with you, but your bitterness is really not it, Chief. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same.
I'm just gonna say, following that, if she sees this, I think it will be kind of hard to make up with her after hearing those things. With that being said, now that it's my turn, personally, I actually don't hate you. I actually want to spend this time thanking you. You told me that you can help me get to merge, excuse me, jury, and you kept your end of that. I really wasn't expecting anything long term from you. So thank you for keeping your word about helping me get to jury. Thank you for coming back into the game and spreading these vicious and nasty lies, whether they were told to you or not, about a season two alliance, because at that time it wasn't true, despite what Luke said or not. It wasn't true. But I would like to thank you for perpetuating this lie and bringing it to the table, because it allowed me to be a part of a very vicious and powerful army that I was afraid that I would not have been a part of if it wasn't for you. And because of you, we were able to come together and dominate most of the latter part of the game and competitions. So I don't hate you. I actually love you, and I'm very appreciative that you did what you did. Because if it wasn't for you, maybe I wouldn't be here. Maybe I wouldn't have won 3 HOHs, 2 POVs, and maybe I wouldn't have had ride or dies that were season two plus Rizzo and Sam as much as I did. Because quite frankly, everybody from the 6 made it to the 4. So because of that, I wanted to spend this time thanking you for all that you did for my game. You really helped me out, whether you know it or not. And I don't do it all. I genuinely love you. And, the next time we play, if you're willing to do some shit like this again, just do it, honey. I'm not going to ask no questions. Just do it. Just take it and run with it. Thank you.
I also want to say that I purposely did not use words that you don't like because you told me you don't like those words, because I don't want to make it personal. I do think that you being bitter toward me is not it. I don't know why. Again, we can talk about that after. We don't have to be friends. I'd like to address it though. Yeah, when you were in this game, truly, you were one of my favorite people to talk to. And I think everyone here can kind of vouch for that I did really trust you. And yeah, so I'd love to know what happened. Oh, the one thing that I will take responsibility for is I did tell Lee that you said things about him because I wanted Lee to evict you. Lee told me he was evicting you or Bryce, and you going at that point was better for me. So I did say that, but that's the one and only part I had in you going.
So you were responsible. Got it. Noted. Cindy, you were right.
Okay. Next up, we will move on to the jury phase of the game. So our first juror this season was Keaton.
Okay. First off, I want to say, Keaton, I am so proud for what you did. I know I wasn't there, but I did go back and rewatch it, and I'm actually really sad that I couldn't be there for that moment. Just know that you always have my love and support. Um, with that being said, I am always nervous playing a game with you. Your chaotic energy is unmatched, and I never know where that's going to be good for my game or bad for my game. Um, so I wanted to work with you, but like at a distance, if that makes sense. So I mean, you making it to jury was probably like right around where I saw our games going and ending. Um, on a personal level, you are so funny. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. I love your crackhead energy. Like it's so good, and there is really nobody like you. So I always look forward to talking with you on that nature. Um, but I do know you were a little preoccupied with another game, and I don't blame you for that. But I really do think like that was your downfall. You didn't really make too many connections. The fact that you made it to 13th was honestly kind of surprising in general. But I'm not mad about it, and I hope you're doing well. I hope we can talk after this because again, I do love talking to you on a personal level.
Keaton, I do love you. I honestly, at the beginning, I wasn't sure how we were you obviously were coming after me like really hard towards the end of season 1, but it had been like 2 years, so I was willing to like let it go. And the whole gag of the season was that season 2 was working together, but I don't think anyone really ever put season 1 that we were all working together, which we basically all were from the get-go. Kind of like indirectly, we didn't really have a chat until Jack came back, but I knew I had to get you out as soon as jury hit, though, because you were always saying on house calls that as soon as Final 9 came, that was when people were going to start coming after me, and you were right. That was when Jamar did put me up. You did kind of like mind read a lot of things in this game. But yeah, same as Caleb, like I'm always here if you ever want to talk, because I do enjoy it. I don't know, talking game to you I find kind of hard just because I feel like we always have like different agendas, but like on a personal level, I always adore every single conversation that we have.
We had maybe one conversation this game. And it was, we didn't get very far in this conversation. But we did stay on call last night until 4 a.m. with like other people, and it was fun. And I do like you as a person, and like it's honestly kind of confusing as to why we didn't talk, because we were in Trinity and this game, and we didn't talk in either game. So we could have like killed two birds with one stone, but we didn't do that. And so yeah, I do like you as a person. We didn't talk much game. I do think that you should have gone home a little sooner, but it's okay. You got 13. You deserve it.
Oh, hey Keaton, hi. So, you know, I know that you like to gaslight people, you like to kind of take control of their emotions, not in a bad way, or like you kind of like try and prey on that. So, I had knew prior that you were targeting myself or Tyler. So when we get to the house call, I'm so glad that Tyler kind of had my back and we were able to kind of return the favor and gaslight you a little bit. Since like you're the king of making people feel certain type of ways. Like the fact that we were able to get you to admit that like you wanted to target us and like how you felt about other players in the game. And the reason being is because Megan was the one that was like spreading the season 2 things. Had you not won a veto, I would have loved to see you go home instead of her. I enjoy you as a person, but like as a game player, you are very dangerous to me because you are completely different from me. You like to stir up shit. You like to cause drama and hide your own hand when you're causing drama. You like to pretend like you don't care when you absolutely do care. And these are all things that I cannot and did not want to work with this game. So I absolutely love and adore you as a person. You're actually one of my favorite people, but strategically speaking, I would have loved it if you got first or second boot. But 13th is fine, I guess. Can't wait to see you on the outside.
Okay. Next up is our comeback king himself, Mr. Jack Walsh.
Oh, Jack. Wait, can you guys hear me? Oh no.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Nobody responded. I got worried. So it's pretty obvious that we've never like worked together on a game level. This was probably the closest we've gotten though. We did have a few really, really good talks, and it was honestly going somewhere I felt like were we gonna be final twos? Probably not. But I do think we could have made something happen. Then the duos twist came up and things kind of went south. If you had won HOH by yourself, would I have been a singular target if we weren't in duos? It's hard to say with what little connection we did make and like what we were working with, But I'd like to think that we were moving forward and that I wouldn't have gone up. And honestly, if I had won a singular HOH and we weren't in duos and like the whole drama of you wanting to take out my duo hadn't occurred, I honestly might not have nominated you. But sadly, that is not how things went down. You know, I always respect you as a game player. You are one of the best, and you always will be in 1984. It's sad that we didn't get to fully work together. I hope we do in the future because I actually really did enjoy our talk. It's probably one of my favorite moments in this game was like they were very seldom, but the ones that we had were really good. And I think I just liked it because it's a connection that we did not get to make on season 4. So I was really actually excited about that. So hopefully we can continue that after the game too. But I do wish nothing but the best for you. Um, and I hope to actually play with you again. And I hope it goes differently that time.
Oh, Jack. Considered you one of my best friends. We played like a lot of group games together. We played like a capture game, which was just so fun. We would like just sit on call and those were fun. We did kind of like fall apart a little bit, which is like nothing, like it wasn't anything bad, but I know I like could never like straight up tell you why I wanted to evict you that week. It was just simply because Lee had offered me a final 2 the week before, and he seemed like pretty genuine about it at the time. Obviously, that did change. But you know that outside of this game, I do like love and adore you, and I don't know where we stand now because I know you were pretty hurt by me voting you out, especially when I probably could have kept you if I voted out Lee. So I will kind of just put the ball in your court, I guess, but we'll see what happens.
I think I was the HOH this round. Was I? Okay. Yeah, so who did I nom initially? I don't think you were my target.
It was Jack and X.
Oh, X was my target. Yes, X was my target that round, and I did not want to see you go, but it was kind of like I wanted X to go for social reasons, but then we all figured that there was a double or a triple coming, so you going would have been good because typically in a double or triple, it's a puzzle, and we all know you're unbeatable in a puzzle. And so, yeah, I did want you out because you did promise me that if I didn't nom you, you'd keep me safe, and I did trust that. But I think it was only to a degree. Like, I think you would have nommed Caleb and Jabbar, or Caleb and Jabbar, maybe if I kept you safe. But I do think I would have been the renom, and I couldn't really risk that because considering every single veto in this game has been used except like one veto, I think. I couldn't really risk that.
I think like 2.
Oh, 2? Okay. 2 vetoes. I couldn't really risk that considering there's a high chance I'd be the renom. And yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go because I know that you really care about this game and you had a lot of fight and passion. I think everyone could see that. It is really hard to talk game with you in my mind though, because I don't know what you're going to do with the information. You either don't give me much or you take what I say and spread it. So it's like a lose-lose for me every time we talk. And yeah, I do love you as a person though.
Okay, so the funniest thing just happened, but yeah. Okay, that was a mess. On to Jack. Hey Jack, hey. You're like a little old brother to me. I adore you. I'm so sad that you left, but you came in the game just as messy as I really, really, I'm not gonna say I wanted to save you because if I had told people that I was saving you, then you would have stayed. But I would have been okay if you stayed. But I think that for the people who I trusted and was working with at the time, it made the most sense for you to go, especially when you told me that you were targeting Caleb and Tyler, who at that point in the game, like I was working with fairly well. With that being said, I really hope that you don't take this personal. I adore you. I love you. It sucks that you had to go unanimously twice, but it's the nature of the beast. Not to mention, Bria is one of my best friends, and you kind of mentioned that like you're fairly competent at crying on cue. So like, um, and you kind of use those crying abilities when you, I guess, Bria and Billy were competing in the comp, and you know, if Tyler's karma, then I guess I have to be vindication because if you, I don't know what happened in the challenge, but if you use those tears on cue to kind of like help you get back in the game, then I wasn't gonna let those sad feelings that I felt or those sad feelings that you had keep you in the game when you were on the block. I adore you, but you know, I had to do what I had to do.
I just want to say after this next eviction, we're getting into very emotional people being evicted, and I really love them all dearly.
Okay, next up is X.
Am I okay? X, you know I absolutely love and adore you. I really did fight so hard for you to stay. I don't think it was ever working out. I still semi blame production for that one. No tea, no shade. Either that or Bryce was just using prod as an excuse. Either way, I was really upset about how that week turned out for you. Oh my god, they're so fucking loud. But either way, I was so sad that you left. You know, like we don't talk much outside of games, but when we are in games, you are literally the person that I talk to the most or like want to talk to the most. We actually didn't call much during this season, but when we did call, I always enjoyed every second of it. I wanted to see you go further. I'm not mad that you left early though, because I know you were pretty well connected and like I don't know if I was top of your list anyways. I'd like to think that I was, but I don't know for sure. But I also didn't really care because again, you are one of my good friends outside this game. And I really hope you are doing well, and I hope we can talk more outside of games because I feel like the only time we actually really like talk is in games, and that really sucks because I enjoy every second that I talk to you. I feel like you were kind of not just your eviction, just the whole game in general. If you don't get like underdog of the season, I'm gonna riot because you were on the block so often, and I really did feel so bad because I don't know if it was anything that you like necessarily did always. But it is what it is. You fought so hard, and you should be proud of everything that you did this game because going from being a nominee the first night and staying until what 11th I think you got out of 22 and like being a nominee that many times and staying like you did something right. So hold your head up high. You did so good, and I love you, and I hope we can talk after this.
I'm gonna go before Sam this time because his mom's in his room. But okay, Mr. X. Outside of games, I want to think that we're all right, but like, it's kind of like we only talk when we're in games, and it seems like every time we're in a game, like, I don't know if it's just that you want to target me because of my reputation or what, but it seems like you always just like want me out from the get-go for some reason. In this game, I was not about to nominate you on Backwards Week. I didn't want you up at all. Like I thought we were gonna kind of work together. And then you make up this big lie about me for whatever reason and call me out on the house call or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because it was directly after you just got 5 nominations. And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense why you're calling me out of all people, considering there's 5 people after you and I'm not one of them. And then when you were nominated, who is he nominated against? Can someone tell me? Anyone?
Lee.
Oh, okay. When you were nominated against Lee, I just put Lee up, but I figured if I saved Lee, he would kind of repay me in a way. And you had Caleb and Yoshi in the game to fall back on, and I kind of selfishly wanted them to myself. So you needed to go, and yeah, that's why I wanted you out over Lee. But yeah.
Okay, X. Okay, doll. My white filling to my Oreo. I fucking love you. I miss you so much. I adore you. I heard this nasty, vicious rumor that in season 3, you told people that I was going to be your first target at All Stars. And coming into this game, I was definitely going to repay that favor because everybody knows I can repay a favor. But after actually getting to know you and stuff, I really, really, really loved you. I liked your energy. I liked your spirit. I didn't even care if you were lying to me or not. I didn't care just because I like talking to you. Which is exactly why I told Yoshi to veto you in the first place, because I really wanted you to stay. And I know that if Yoshi didn't veto you, then you were probably going to fuck home.
You're a rat ass bitch. Liar.
I am a rat ass bitch and a motherfucking liar. But I really wanted X to stay. I wanted him to stay. So, you know.
There is a prod.
Unfortunately, I don't know what Sam's gonna say, or like I don't know what never mind. I don't know, but I will say that as the tide started to turn, I don't necessarily know if you would have stayed if the whole prize situation had happened. More can be explained after the season, but whether Pride did what they did or not, I'm not 100% sold that you would have stayed anyway. But regardless of the fact, we'll never know because of what happened. I will just say that I miss you. I truly miss you. Call me after the season.
Okay. Obviously, I put you up like my first HOH. And I know you like told me you weren't putting me up. And I also had like Caleb and Rizzo telling me that you weren't going to put me up. But then I had like Tyler telling me that you were. So it was just like, it was a whole thing. I wanted to believe people, but I did not want to look like Boo Boo the Fool and like have you in HOH and then put me up. So that's why I did evict you. I know this is like another person who's like looking for an explanation. So here you go. When you look back, you can blame Tyler. Just kidding. Don't blame Tyler. It was my move. I probably would have also done it because again, Lee had offered me that final 2 deal. I knew he wasn't going to stick with it, but I wanted to ride that out as long as I could. But they're cool to talk to regardless.
Okay, next up is Rizzo.
Oh my god.
Am I starting again?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm drunk, so we're
Still
gonna try
not.
to keep it together. Rizzo, coming into this game, we weren't like that close of friends. I feel like we were more of acquaintances. I straight up asked season 5, but I wanted to get all the juicy gossip. So I was like, hey Rizzo, can you add me to your prod chat? And you were like, I didn't even know I could do that. I was like, yeah, add me. And you did. And from there on out, Yumi and Nick always joked about how we would make an all-stars alliance. Obviously back then it was a joke because we didn't know how you were going to do in that season, and we didn't even know if Nick was going to get an invite. But the fact that all 3 of us were on this season, I knew my final 3 right from the get-go. Obviously things changed pretty early on. But you did not. You were my rock in this game. You always kept me grounded. You helped me when I was stressed. I would get on call with you, and automatically I felt okay again. And you were honestly the best thing that happened to me this game. I could have gone home like week 5 and I would have been I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have been glad that at least I made a friend for life out of it. And um I adore you so much. You are one of the funniest, sweetest people I know. And I know a lot of people didn't get to see that side of you, I guess. But I did, and I'm so thankful for that every day. And I hope we can continue to talk because I know you're so bad at looking at Skype. But I hope we can talk outside of this because you are truly a friend for life. And Ev, I miss you. I missed you the second you were gone. I fought so hard for you to stay. Um, it, I don't, I don't know what went wrong that week, but it sucks not to have you here because I know how bad you wanted it. Um, but I'm glad for the time that we did get to play together, and I'm always gonna enjoy that. Some of my favorite memories were just hanging out with you on call. But I'm gonna let somebody else go now because I've been talking for a very, very long time. But I love you so, so, so much. You were obviously my ride or die. Everyone knew it. We couldn't hide it. And honestly, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
That sounds really hard. Rizzo, I also got like really close to you this season. We would play like Roblox for like hours at night, and it was just like it was so much fun. I genuinely wanted to take you to like at least Final Four, but a lot of people and me, like we started comparing notes, and I had heard that you wanted to like, I don't know if it's true. We'll need to talk after the season and just see what happened. But I heard you like wanted to backdoor me, and it was just like one of those things where I didn't want to look like a fool at the end if I got taken out the next round. But I do hope you don't hold anything personal because like you're like one of the genuinely you're one of the people that like I really want to continue talking to after this season. But I do love you a whole lot. I'm sorry.
Okay, so this was my HOH, and okay, should I be like, we're at the point in the game where I can be just like transparent as to why I knocked him, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna do that. So basically, okay, Rizzo, we didn't talk the first half of the game. Up until like final fifth, I want to say after Cindy left, we started talking, and that's when I feel like we got super close. Like, to be honest, like we called for 3-4 hours, like probably every other night, and it was like I don't know, it just felt so natural. Like even though we didn't talk the first half of the game, I didn't know who you were before this game. When we talked, it just felt like so natural. And okay, so the real reason why I put you up was okay, so Sam had said that you and Caleb had a final three. Jabbar had said that you wanted a final three with Jabbar and Caleb. And in my mind, I had to get rid of you because if you wanted a final three with two different people, that probably meant that they were ahead of me on your totem pole. And I know that I turned on the 6 very early on, which like I didn't need to, but again, I told you that I didn't know when I'd win another HOH, and I was correct. I didn't win another HOH after that. So I do think it was the right move for me, and I do think if you were here, things would be a lot different. And to be honest, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now. And I do love you so much as a person, and I don't know, I do love talking to you very, very much. It was just like, that was strictly game. There was no personal aspect about it. Yeah, and like you said that you were hurt that I didn't tell you that you were my target. And like, although you were my target, anyone can vouch, I didn't really campaign for you to go. I kind of nommed Yoshi and let it into fate's hands. If Yoshi left, I wouldn't have been sad. But at that time, I felt like it was best for you to go. And yeah, it's not personal at all, but that's what I was told. And I felt like if you had those two final threes, it left me at fifth at best. So.
Hey, Rizzo. Hey. So, first of all, I know that after the season, I have a lot of explaining to do. So I'm going to start with the positives first. You are slowly becoming one of my best friends. I love you. Oh my God. I can literally just talk to you for like hours about nothing and everything at the same time. I've been so bored since you've been gone. I miss you so much. I love you. Which is why I'm so sad to have to tell nasty and vicious lies about you to kind of further myself in the game. Some of the things I said were truthful, but other things were kind of like lies and exaggerations. But I really hope you forgive me. I really wanted to get myself as far as I possibly can. And I think that like watching you skyrocket into a lot of people's good graces definitely intimidated me, and I don't like to be intimidated. So I love you. You're like a little brother to me. Obviously, we'll keep in contact after this. We probably might play another org or two together. God, I hope not. But you had to go. I miss you so much. I miss you.
Okay, next up we have Nick Benner.
Okay. Nick Benner, I believe, was also one of the people that I never got to play with before coming into this game. And honestly, one of the most excited I was to get to play with. I've always adored watching Nick Benner. I love how upfront and honest he is. I always have. I've always kind of like adored it because that's just he's so unapologetically him, and that's something that I kind of aspire to be. Um, so it was nice to get to see that firsthand. And again, he delivered. He was unapologetically him, and I loved every second of it. Starting off the game, we did not talk much, and you were probably somebody that I would have nominated pretty early on if I had one more power. But as the game progressed in, we did go on a few more calls. We got a little bit closer. That final 9, you probably were not somebody that I was gonna put up. I don't think you were ever somebody who I was gonna take to the end. But I don't think you were about middle for me. Just game wise, because we didn't talk that much, but I think you are so sweet, and like I loved like we just playing Dead by Daylight and just like fucking around. Like it was so much fun, and I wish it could have happened more because it wasn't very often that it occurred. But the times that it did happen, I had fun. But in the end, I think you were against Sam, and it sucked because I didn't really want to see either of you leave. But keeping Sam was better for my game. You said it wasn't. I guess time will still tell if that's true or not. But I do wish you the best, and I hope we can talk outside of this game because again, I did have so much fun talking to you.
Okay, hello. Sorry, my mother was talking to me. Who are we on? Benner? Okay. We had like a pretty good relationship like early on in the game. Obviously at like the speech it kind of went downhill a little bit where I rolled my eyes. I do apologize for that. I'm sure we'll explain more at finale night, but it was just annoying because like me and Caleb weren't really working with Bergs at that point. So like the winners thing was kind of a dud. But you know I love you as a person, and I cannot wait to talk to you after and play more Dead by Daylight and everything else. But yeah, I no bad feelings on my end.
Hello. Is it my turn yet?
Yes, it is.
Oh, who are we talking about?
Benner.
Okay. So this is very ironic. I just filled up my drink and we're talking about Benner. So cheers to Benner. And okay. So early on, you were 100% one of my top allies. And I told you pretty much everything early on, to be honest. But then, I don't know, it kind of like, sorry, I just like trucked up my stairs. I'm out of breath. So then once the jury hit, it seemed like we kind of drifted a little bit, but we still had that little bit of trust. And when you went home, you were not against Sam. And truly, I felt like if Sam left, it would have tanked my game very hard. And I know I didn't fight for you to stay. And I know you'll probably be hurt by that because we did say that we'd have an honest and open relationship with each other. And I feel like I didn't really hold up to that in a way. But I do love and adore you as a person. I felt like I could call you and like rant about whatever. And even though our calls were never like that long, it was like I could call you and rant about whatever. And then it would be like, I don't know, I just immediately felt better. And like as a person, I'm always there for you. You're a great friend. And I hope we can talk outside this game because I do love and adore you very much. But it was your time to go.
Hey Benna, hey. So this is where my game just fucking, I don't know what the hell happened to it. Somebody threw dynamite on my game. It was just a mess. However, I really enjoyed your honesty. Like you were fairly blunt. You told people how you felt. Anytime I got on call with you, I got the sense that you were being genuine, which is why I was never really afraid to be genuine with you when need be. Um, I know that you had messaged me close to the triple eviction, and you were just like, you kind of feel like you were set up and like, why are you my target? Because I put you up against Sam, which granted you were my target, mainly because you were one of the few people to my knowledge at the time. I didn't know that everybody was going to do it, but like you're one of the few people who would put Yoshi and I up together. So I definitely wanted to target you. Obviously, in retrospect, Sam should have got the fuck out of here at this point. But like, you can't change that. So like, I do want you to know that I really enjoyed you for who you were, and I miss you a lot. God, you're a badass. You are a badass, and I really hope that if I ever see you in the game in the future, we can work together because I would love to be on your good side.
Okay, next up we move into our triple eviction night. The first victim of that was Yoshi. Ishmael Kadar Sneed.
Girly, Benner was a part of that.
Wait,
I know, but like the actual live night boots, like the ones that happen
Child,
all week.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Yoshi, you honestly coming into this game, you were probably somebody that scared me the most. You are by far the best social player to ever play 1984. Hands down, nobody can hold a match to what you have done socially in 1984 in season 3, and you upheld that in this season as well. with that being said, you even had me fooled. Well, not really fooled, because I feel like you were pretty genuine when we talked, but like I didn't really want to target you because I liked the conversations that we had. I always kind of felt like I kept you at a distance because I was worried that you would make it really far, just like you did in season 3, because of your social game. Um, but it was good. It was good again, and I didn't want to really target you that much. Um, in the end, it came down to you versus me. I was actually kind of hurt by some of the stuff you said about how I think you said I didn't deserve to be here because I was a winner. And like, I get it. Like, going home to somebody who has already won probably isn't the best feeling in the world. And you had to say what you had to say to survive. But at the same time, we're all stars here and we're all here for a reason. Um, and like, just because I've previously won doesn't mean I shouldn't have a shot this season either. Whether what you said was how you were actually feeling or it was just a speech to try to get you further, I have no real hard feelings. I adore you. You are by far the sweetest, nicest person I have ever met in an org. You stay true to yourself, Yoshi, because you are a blessing on this earth, and I really do love you dearly.
Yoshi, we had a very interesting relationship this game. Um, I don't, I don't know what happened. I feel like up until final 10, 11, we probably were putting each other up on our HOHs had we won. Um, we just had a really weird rivalry ever since the wheel comp that Cindy won. Um, I don't think I ever would have like directly targeted you, but you probably would have gone up. Um, but like everything Caleb said, I like can match 100%. Like, you are one of the most sweetest, genuine people like that anyone can ever talk to. Like, and you went through like so much in this game. Like personally, I genuinely don't know how you kept like your positive, happy attitude throughout it, because I just would have been an absolute wreck if half the stuff that happened to you happened to me. Um, I I know you feel hurt that I literally evicted you right after you were like actively campaigning to save me. I wasn't in a position where I felt like if I evicted Caleb, I 100% would have been the next winner targeted. Um, oh, my vacuum. So sorry. I'm gonna cut it short now, but I love you so much.
Sorry, I was muted. But Yoshi, you were in my very first org ever, and we were a final two. We were like ride or die in that game. You were you were my bitch in that game. We were very close, and then when we got here, I um I felt like we had a really good social connection, and I felt like a lot of people felt this way. And like, don't take this as like an insult at all, because your social game is phenomenal, and like that part of the game you completely outsold any of us here and probably most of the game. Um, but I feel like if you added a strategic portion to your game, you would be like, you would be a beast. Like, you would not be stoppable. Like, no one wanted to take you out because of who you are as a person, let alone if people knew where you stood in the game and who you had loyalties to. Like, no one would want to take you out. Um, and I think that was your downfall. Is I I don't really remember like details, but I do know you told a lot of the people the same stuff over and over. And like when it did come to game, and it kind of like it made me wonder where I stood with you. And like I know you told me you had my back and whatever, but I truly didn't know if you had my back or not. But outside the game, you are an absolute sweet person. You're amazing. Um, I love you very much, and I'm sorry you had to go, but yeah, I couldn't have been Caleb at that point. And you also leaked what I said right before the triple.
Oh, I miss you. I miss you so much. I love you. I don't even know how many, once again, I don't know how many positive things I could possibly say about you. You know how much I love you. And spending this next 60 seconds won't change that. So I'm not going to talk about you too much. I'm just going to say that I fucking love you. With that being said, you leaving the way you did, like, I wasn't mad that you left. I was, because I understood that we were going to be broken up in the first place, but I was just mad at how you left. Like, based off the conversations that I was having people prior to the triple, I thought that, like, you would have been fine, but you leaving the way you did really just showed me that I was just need to focus on myself. So, like, I love you and I miss you, but, like, we both learned a very valuable lesson with you leaving the way that you did. And if it would not have happened the way that it did, it probably wouldn't have kicked back my competitive drive, and it probably wouldn't be the reason why I'm here. So, love you so much. Thank you so much for being a loyal friend and a brother to me. But thank you so much for showing me that I need to focus on myself in this game.
Okay, next up, the final winner that has already left the game, Mr. Burks, our little minor.
I honestly don't even know where to begin because we did not have the greatest history in season 2. We honestly didn't even talk that much in season 2. We like barely spoke. But I can say when I came into season 6, that's the season that we're on. You were one of my favorite people to talk to. You are so funny and your personality shines even through like PMs. I think you are so just at your age. Stop, not giggle, stop. At your age, the fact that I feel like you already have like a decent sense of who you are, and it really proves how mature you are, and is because like yeah, you are young, but you know how to carry yourself and you know what you're doing. And I honestly loved the little redemption story arc that you did get this season, because although you came in as a winner, I know you had doubts about yourself because people are hard on you. And when we first started, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. That Billy Cindy vote was very messy for you, and I know a lot of people were talking about, is Burks gonna play the same game he did in season 2? Is it gonna be just a repeat of that? You shut everyone up, myself included. You popped off after that. I think you're tied for the record for comp wins right now. Um, and not only that, but like you made moves, you did things, like you were such a force this season, and you should be so proud of what you did. And you should never let anyone take away your win. Um, to begin with, and especially not now. You proved why you were an all-star, you proved why you were here, you proved why you were a winner. And I honestly think you just made one mistake this game, and that was putting Yoshi up on the block. I think that if you put anyone else up, I probably would have gone home. And you could very well still be here. And it sucks because you were playing such a dominant game. Obviously I'm not like mad about it, but um don't ever hold your head low for what you did this game. You really did power through. And I honestly hope you're not done with orgs like you said you are, because I know you have so much more to give, and you can do so well in them. And I really look forward to if you decide to play again. But you know, on a personal level, I love and adore you so much, and I hope we can continue to talk after this as well.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna skip Sam again, so I'm gonna go. So my little Berksy, my Berkeron. Obviously we were honestly Berks. I'm shocked we made it till top 6, 7 together. We were viewed as a duo since like final 16 or 15 or like very early on. People knew that we were super close. I'm not gonna say it's your fault, but when you tell half the cast I'm your number one ally, that's gonna happen. But I'm not blaming you at all. It was totally fine. I enjoyed being your duo. I enjoyed being pushed into a corner with you and knowing that we had to like win or we were going home. We went on a cute little train where we won 5 HOHs back to back to back. And that was very cute. I felt like I wanted to work with you, but the game okay, so season 2, you targeted me the entire time for whatever reason. Then we played a 10 gauge group game and we voted each other into, it was the challenge. We voted each other in like 4 times each and you kept targeting me the entire time. And then you told me you hated me at the end of the season. And then we entered this game and I was like, oh fuck, I don't know where I stand with Berks. But then we started talking like right away, and honestly, like we knew we were gonna work together, or like I knew I was working with you, and that's kind of where it began. And then I think this is how kind of the season 2 thing kind of started, was me, you, and Jabbar kind of all wanted to work together. And then I wanted to work with Caleb, but you had distrust with Caleb for some reason. I didn't really understood where that came from. But at the end of the day, you are like a little brother to me. You're so sweet. Honestly, we've talked every day since this game. Obviously not about the game, don't worry. But we've talked every day since. And I do think you're an absolute gem, except I will admit in this video that I was playing selfishly in a very big aspect of it where Jabbar was correct. I knew we were going up together at some point, and I did want people that would save me over you around. Like, that was correct. There was no part of me that thought we'd make final 2 together. Like obviously we were a duo, whatever, but no one was going to let us make final 2 in an all-stars. It wasn't going to happen. And that's just kind of like where we stood. I also think, so in the triple, I told you that if you nom Yoshi, Jabbar was going to be after you. And I told you that if you wanted, I said Yoshi after you is better than Jabbar after you. And you said Jabbar was never going to go against you. And I told you that was false. But when you nom Yoshi, and then you picked House Guest Choice and picked Jabbar the next round, that kind of, and then he won and didn't use it, that kind of sealed your fate. And the game's going to be over, so that's totally fine when you see this. But I do think I think you should have known Jabbar instead of Yoshi if you're making that move. And that's kind of that. But Berks, I love you so much. You're going to be one of my best friends. We're going to talk every day, regardless if you like it or not. And yeah, I love you very much.
I absolutely love you very much too. We're probably not going to communicate them. That I was one of the 2 people you were referring to. And I mean, that's completely fine. Like, I'm not going to hassle you. I'm going to give you as much time and space as you need. Whatever the case may be, the ball is in your court. But just know that I absolutely love and adore you. With that being said, I loved working with you. I felt like this was, I think that this was a breath of fresh air from season 2 in regards to you and I, because I just wasn't a big fan of yours for most of season 2. And this time you really helped me change my perception of you. So I'm very appreciative of that. And I would like to thank you for that. With that being said, I did say to you privately on multiple occasions that, like, you know, I think that you're using your HOHs to target people who I felt would keep you over Tyler. And there's going to come a point where if the if you guys are ever nominated together, you will go home over Tyler because all the people who are left in the game are closer to Tyler than you. And like you would tell me that you know, which is why when you renominated Yoshi, I was just extremely shocked. I wasn't mad because like I got it from the game perspective. I was just shocked that you would have made a decision like that based off the conversations that we were having prior to the triple. With that being said, I didn't target you. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Like when Yoshi left, I didn't target you. But I think I was more so at a position where I wasn't necessarily going to feed your interest anymore. You made a decision prior that I completely respect, that like you were going to look out for you and what was best for you. And I decided to return the favor by doing what I think at that point was best for me, which was not using the veto and just moving on with my own personal game. And whether it was beneficial or not, which strategically speaking, I am sorry, because it was not the best decision to make strategically. But in terms of physicality, you were winning those competitions. I did not necessarily want you to go over Tyler, but I noticed that when you left, I won an HOH and a veto back to back that fucking saved my life. And I'm not 100% for certain that I would have won those if you would have stayed. So I'm very sad, and I have no problems admitting that I made a mistake by not vetoing you. But looking at the bright side of it, I made it here. And I really hope that you respect and appreciate that just as much as I respected and appreciated you making the final two of season 2. I absolutely love and adore you. There's no hard feelings. I get it. And I'm going to let you take that time because you deserve it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Berks. I don't know where to start with you. We had a very, very good relationship up until I was on the block. And then every single person was telling me that you wanted to evict me if the numbers were there. Even Tyler had told me that.
I did not tell you that, girl. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
you told me
Don't do that.
Girl, you told me Bryce told you.
Bryce told me. Yeah, Bryce. Burke's not tell me himself.
Whatever. Anyway, I had heard. Okay. Well, he didn't tell you this, but anyway, everyone was like telling me that you would have evicted me and I had heard that you were going to Jabbar and pushing that if it was a tie, he should maybe evict me. Whether this is all true or not, it really put like a dent in our relationship. And I didn't really know if it was going to recover. So I know I'm the other second person that you're like mad at. Which I get, like I evicted you, I would be mad too. But I do think there needs to be a little bit on you as well, because like if you wanted me out, then why would I not take the shot back? I told you that we should talk after the triple. Obviously that didn't happen because you left during it, but I hope that we can like hopefully move through this and become friends again, because I did know you before this game and I do want to like continue our friendship. But obviously ball is in your court. Completely up to you. But I have nothing but respect to you, and I hope you can like maybe stop throwing petty comments at me and Javar in the other game we're in, but it is what it is.
Okay.
These next two boots are gonna grill me alive whenever I make jury or make final two.
Next up is Bryce. The best time to wear a striped sweater.
Oh, Michael Davis, be
It's not
nasty
final
one more time.
say.
Be nasty one more time. Bryce, you were probably one of my like first real friends that I met on 10 Gauge like ever way back in 2012. You were like one of the first people I went on call with. You were one of the first people like I chatted with outside of games. and I straight up begged Michael to get you on a 1984 season forever. It was like 2 seasons, but still. And when I saw that you were finally playing, I was so excited. I loved watching you go far every single week. Um, and I was so happy when you got back for All Stars because I honestly like wanted like to work with you really bad because I wanted to be like the old. I need new roommates. Oh, hold on one second. I'm in the middle of something. No, like no, we're like recording right now. No, like we're on air. We're on live TV. I'm so sorry, Bryce. Um, but I really wanted to work with you coming in because I wanted to be like the old times. Sadly, that wasn't the case coming into this game. I had for him kind of it was scary how much you wanted Rizzo out. Like I was scared because I know it affected my game too. I know like if you had gotten power, I most likely would have been on the block next to Rizzo because you knew we were close. Um you would campaign to everyone to get Rizzo out except for me because you knew it wouldn't do anything for me. And that terrified me because I felt like there was a wedge between us because of somebody else in this game that like didn't really like it shouldn't have been there in my opinion. Like I understand where you wanting Rizzo out. Okay, let me rephrase. I understand that you wanted Rizzo out, but I don't know why it affected me because I honestly did not want you out. I know I nominated you, and that probably gained some distrust as well. But I was being completely honest when I said you and Yoshi had the best shot at staying against Bria and Jack, and I believe that to this day, whether Bria gave up or not, I still do think you guys were gonna stay against them. Um, but I know you were kind of mad and that built some distrust, so that one is on me. However, I wish we could have worked together a little bit more and that Rizzo wasn't such a big factor for us because I feel like no matter whether I was working with Rizzo or you were against Rizzo, I'm my own person and I wanted to play my own game. You could have targeted Rizzo as much as you wanted, and I still wasn't putting you up on the block until I found out you were most likely going to target me as well because of it. Um, but with that being said, I am glad that we got to reconnect because it has been ages since we've talked. I think you are like top 3 funniest people in this cast, hands down. And I hope we can talk after this game because I really do love you and I do want to reconnect more on a personal level because we honestly didn't talk much this game in general, and the talks that we did have were pretty game related, to be quite honest. Until the end, we did talk a bit more, um, and I honestly loved that. But I hope we can talk more on a personal level outside of this game, um, and that's pretty much it.
Um, Bryce, I adore you. We had so many like just like random like fun like ranting calls about like everything in life and COVID quarantine struggles that we both had to do, and it was just it was just it was just a blast playing with you. You honestly were one of my like top allies. Kind of hard because we were working with very different people. I was obviously working very closely with Rizzo, and you wanted him out. Regardless, I think we were actually able to like move through that pretty well and still manage to have like a positive relationship, even having different targets. Um, um, yeah, we definitely need to like go through after the season and just like talk about a lot of things because I think we're both still like confused where the distrust came from, and we never really got to get to the bottom of it. But you know, I absolutely adore you. I have no hard feelings. I do think it was either me or you leaving that week. Oh, not Jabbar's comment. Okay, well, there we go. What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, I know that I was leaving if I didn't come off the block. And I think if Caleb was given the chance that week, he maybe would have saved me if I was on the block. So that's ultimately why I did evict you. But again, it's nothing personal. Our relationship just hit a good little wall on the train we were on.
Okay. This eviction was truly the one that broke my heart the most because, like, although Burks broke my heart when he left, I had no part in it. This one truly dug deep, and Bryce, I've known you for 7 or 8 years, and I've never seen you cry in my life. And so when you called me before that veto meeting and you were crying, it like truly like broke my heart in a way. Like I sat there and I tried to like keep it together and like not feel bad about it because again, it's like I'm the kind of person that can be a stone cold bitch. I can, but I knew the decision I had to make, and I wasn't gonna let you crying affect it, if that makes sense. So I know you were saying that like I didn't really care. You kept saying like, oh, you don't care that I'm crying, like stuff like that, which I feel like you were trying to play your emotions a little bit. But again, there was no like I wasn't gonna think emotionally at that point. I feel like I invested too much time into this game to think emotionally. And at that point I really did think that it was me, Caleb, and Sam versus you, Jabbar, and Lee. And you were saying you were bringing me to final 2, but then you kept telling me that like I'll probably bring you over Lee. It was never a for sure thing. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt in that vote. Early on, you were one of my top allies. I appreciate you begging Cindy so hard not to backdoor me. Because truly, I would have got 15th place or 16th place, whatever Nick got, if you didn't do that for me. And I did appreciate it very much. And you were one of my top allies this entire game until the triple. And then you wanted to evict me over Burks. And this is where the distrust kind of came in for me, and I didn't really trust you. I trusted every word you said up until that point, but you told me straight up that you wanted me out over Burks because you thought you has told me many times that he didn't trust you. So this is where it was very confusing for me, and I felt like if you were willing to evict me over Burks, who didn't trust you, then you were going to evict me over other people if you felt that you needed to. And I know you were saying that I'm loyal, that you were loyal, whatever, that you would never evict me if I saved you. But Bryce, I've known you for so long. I know that, like, I don't want to say you're a game bot, but you are a game bot. You're going to do whatever it takes to win. You've targeted me in many games. I've targeted you in many games. And that's just how it is. I do consider you a friend, very much so, outside this game. And like truly evicting you is one of the hardest things that I had to do in this game. And it like I don't know, that's all there is to it really. If it bites me in the ass, like I don't know what's gonna happen in this final 4, but if it does bite me in the ass, then I deeply apologize, and that'll be something that I have to deal with. But I do think that if I evicted Caleb at that time, it would have been very bad for me. I think I would have gone next or for 4th. And if I do go for 4th, then it clearly was my downfall. And I will apologize for that after the season. But yeah, I do love you very, very much. And I'm sorry I had to do that to you. So yeah.
What is this garbage can doing here? Oh God. Okay. Hey, I Loved you. Bryce, you were so funny. I love just talking to you just because you were just so amazing. The shit that you were saying was just so completely ridiculous sometimes, but it was so good. Like you always kept a smile on my face when I talked to you. Um, Thank you so much for vetoing me. I'm very appreciative of that. Like I said, I never really had anybody just veto me in a Big Brother org, so I'm very appreciative of that. Um, I'm so sad that I had to renominate you. Um, but like when you were trying to pitch to me that you and Sam would evict Caleb over Lee, and like Sam had told you that he would evict Caleb, I knew that that was a blatant lie. I felt like you're trying to get me to put up Lee so that Lee could get sixth place, and it would just be an even worse situation for myself. Even though you told me that like you wanted to go a little tad bit further with me, I like kind of like Tyler. I didn't really know if I believed it either. I don't know. Yoshi home. Just like seeing you be able to do something like that and then like get back into my good graces. I knew that you like I had to put you up over Lee. Not to mention I had my suspicions that the other three people that I was in the final three with, like they were all working, not necessarily closely with you, but like they all prefer you to stay over Lee at least. So that was enough of a reason for me to want to put you up. I'm so sorry. I know that you vetoed me, and I know that I told you that you were safe at the beginning of the week, but you know, all is fair in the game of 1984, and I really hope that you forgive me.
Okay. And lastly, our latest evicted player, Lee Crimson.
Cut the
Cut the
cameras.
cameras.
Lee, you were the entertainer this season. You have so many sound bites. It's ridiculous. Um, I am gonna say this as a friend because again, coming into this game, you are one of my best friends outside of this game, and I hope that doesn't change. With what I'm about to say, you played one of the messiest games I've ever seen in 1984. At least at the beginning, there was alliances that you were in with just about everyone, and I get that you wanted to make sure that you were okay, but it obviously it got out and it didn't look very good for you. Then you were nominated like 4 times straight. Um, I do think you really, really picked up your game at the end there. You obviously won that HOH and single handedly sent a winner home. Um, and I think you were one of the only people, probably besides me, and even I was on the fence about it, to send Cindy home. And the fact that you won that and did what you had to do to get her out really changed the game because I think everyone else for the most part was evicting Keaton, so that was a really, really big move. And the fact that you were the only one to put up Burks and Tyler, because I honestly don't think anyone else would have, because whoever Tyler wasn't connected with, Burks was connected with. um so the fact that you were able to do that was another big move, and I really do think you picked up your game towards the end. However, I have nothing but love for you in my heart. It's sad that we did not get to work together as closely as I wanted. Again, I do get that I nominated you pretty early on and you weren't happy about it during the duos week. And again, I really meant when I said when I did not want you guys going home that week, but game, and that's like not like your actual life. I didn't do that, but like I threatened your spot in this game, and that lost a lot of trust between us, and it's totally understandable. And I don't think we were ever able to recover after that, and it sucks. I am glad you made it this far though, because again, you brought some of the funniest moments, in my opinion, to this season. You were a star, and you always will be. And I'm glad you're in the 100 Day Club. Congrats. Um, I love you, Lee, and I hope no matter what happens this game, I hope we can stay friends outside of it because you are, again, one of my best friends outside of this game.
Lee, I just adore you. We worked so well together on our first season. I was hoping we were just gonna come in and like just dominate this season again, just like me, you, and Josh did in season 1. But it was, I feel like everything I told you somehow someone else had heard about. So it was just like, again, very messy, but I love you so, so much. I do feel bad though, because I was the one telling people that you had told me about the Saute Alliance when I really had heard it from Bryce. And I do think that was a reason you got nominated early on, but it did earn me a lot of favors with Cindy and Bryce. So I don't know if you ever got to like the bottom of that story, but here it is. But ultimately, I think that was a move that benefited me a lot, actually, in this game. It was very risky, because if it did come back to me, it would have definitely bit me in the butt. But yeah, but I have nothing but like love and respect for you. This was definitely one of the hardest evictions for me, because it was ultimately like my vote sending you out. But I know that at the end of the day, you are a game player and you hopefully won't take anything personally. And I hope we can just continue our streak of just sending random reaction photos to each other and just like cackling at them, because I love doing that with you. And there is never like, it's just not the same without you here. Your random witty comments of cut the cameras, like I can't even think of it right now. But I love you so much, and I can't wait to talk to you after.
Mr. Lee Crimson. So we were really close early on, and I don't really know what happened, truly. So this is where I think our downfall was, on my end anyway. So I thought we were really close. We talked a lot. We compared a lot of notes, whatever. Then I was told about your Saute Alliance, and that was like that was already like breaking trust with me. And then I was told about a different chat you made early on, that I also was not included in. So it was like you made 2 chats and I wasn't in one of them. Especially considered you made Saute as like an outsider alliance, and I don't really know how everyone in that chat was an outsider. I would love for you to elaborate outside, like after this game, but I don't really understand how Cindy and Bryce were an outsider, in my opinion, because they were in an alliance chat with every single person in the game. But yeah, so there's that. And then the sticky situation where Yoshi used to veto on X because I didn't really know what to do as a Renom. I didn't really think about it. And when I was sitting on the Zoom call, because don't get me wrong, Yoshi never told me he was using the veto. So when he used it, I was kind of put on blast. And like I kind of thought about it because I knew it was a possibility, but I didn't really think about it a whole lot. And then I just kind of sat there and I was just speaking until a thought popped in my mind about who to renom. And this is my mindset was, truthfully, I did not think you were making it much further past that point. I thought I did not think a lot of people would nominate me if they won. And you were one person I also did not think would nominate me if they won. But I also thought that you were kind of a lost cause at that point, and a lot of people were going to use you as like a pawn often, and just ultimately just nom you every chance they got, just because you were playing a messy game. Truthfully, you were playing a messy game. I love you as a person, but that's kind of how it was. And that's why I put you up as a pawn, because I knew you were going to stay regardless. And I felt like that ruined our relationship, obviously, because I did nominate you and I didn't tell you. I didn't really tell you anything of the sort. But then you won HOH, obviously, which was the worst case scenario for me and Berkeron. But you did put me and Berks up, and you did get Berks out. And although you did play a messy game, you should pat yourself on the back because you, like, single-handedly, you took out 2 winners. You took out 2 winners by yourself. And even though it was messy, like, the in-between bits were super messy, and I feel like no one really knew where your trust lied. You still did make big moves, but that's ultimately why I evicted you, is because although you were promising me that you would bring me to Final 2, we just had so much distrust before that it was like, I didn't really know if you would bring me to Final 2. And yeah, although I did want to slay the shark and the puffer fish, we just never got a chance to together.
Hey, Haley, hey, hey, boo. So I'll say this. I did not fucking trust your ass
You're
from the
not on
start.
Camden Bar, if you didn't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you called. We ain't gonna get into that. I didn't trust your ass from the start. You came out the gate. I did not that you were messy. I just didn't get it, honey. I just whatever you're selling, I wasn't buying it. But you won me over after our first, like, after I nominated you the first time. You won me over, and I was like, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with you, Lee. I can fuck with you. I'm so glad that when I was like ready to like try and lead a rebellion against the powers that be, who are all still in the game. I'm so glad that I had you by my side because you were fairly competent. And like you were one of like the few people outside of the powers that be that were like winning the HOHs. So I'm so glad to have you on my side. And like, we didn't make it here together, but quite frankly, I don't like, I miss you and I love you, but I don't give a fuck if you go or not. I ain't gonna lie, because I don't think he would have took me to the Final 2 anyway. But that's not here nor there. I'm definitely glad to have you on my side because you were very strong in your opinions, even though your opinions changed like once a day. But you got took down, sis. You got took down at the Final 5. And even though I don't necessarily know if it was the right decision to take you down, I get it because I had won the veto and there really wasn't another decision to be made. So like when you watch this, I just like really hope that after the season, like you give the other people that are in the Final 3 with me, like I really hope that you understand where they're coming from when everything went down. Because let's face it, we were plotting against them. So like we can't really be mad when everything went down the way they do. So like maybe when you watch this and like we have a little bit more clarity to talk after the season, that like you cut certain people some slack about some of the decisions that were made. I love you and I adore you. I cannot wait to, I'm looking at how good I look in the mirror, y'all. I cannot wait to talk to you after the season. Definitely keep in touch. We have each other on Snap. You my bitch, and I fucks with you. I cannot wait to see you on the other side.
Okay, Houseguests, that is it. Thank you to everybody who has viewed this season. Obviously, we still have a little bit of game left. 2 more of you will be evicted before the other 2 face the jury. But with that, that is all I have for you guys tonight.